Hi, welcome to Your Future, Your Finances. I'm Brian Kuhn, and today we're talking with Lynne Gilli of the State of Maryland Department of Career and College Readiness. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I got involved with financial literacy education as a member of the Maryland State Department of Education staff. And as a result, I serve as a representative for Dr. Lowry, our State Superintendent of Schools, on the Financial Education and Capability Commission, which is co-chaired by a senator and delegate. And we talk a lot about the kinds of things that students need to learn to be financially capable as adults. And so I've been fortunate enough to be able to work in this arena for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've made some significant progress.
Yeah, it's a very important topic. Getting them some financial education. So why is it so important? What's going on with their readiness as they go into the real world?
Well, we know that students are going to be making more complex decisions than ever before. Retirement is going to be something that they'll have to figure out on their own unless they get professional advice from people like you. And it's important for them to understand the products and the resources that are at their disposal early on. We think students need to begin learning as early as childhood about financial education, and that the parents are their first role model. And so at the State Department of Education, we have, as a state board, enacted regulations as of September of 2011 requiring all local school systems to require students in grades 3 to 12 to have financial education.
That's great.
And so it's integrated in family and consumer sciences, social studies, mathematics. It's across the curriculum.
And that's the Maryland State Department of Education. So there's those required curriculum now, and then what are some other things that they're doing to help students prepare themselves from a financial education standpoint?
Well, we have had a lot of partners offer grants to us, which have been fortunate to acquire. And so as a result, we have some webinars that help parents understand, for example, how to fill out the free application for federal student aid. A very important part of graduating from high school is to have that in place, to understand scholarship opportunities. We have a webinar on saving for college and the 529 plans. We have tips on higher education. So there are a number of things that we've been able to do through grant funds. Coming soon will be an online course. It will be geared toward high school students. It will be a 1-credit course that they can take while in high school, and do it online. And we think that they'll benefit from that opportunity to have access to some quality instruction that will help them just before they leave for their next steps, be it career, apprenticeship, going to college, a 2- or 4-year college, or going to a training or private career school, or the military for that matter.
Sure. And then a lot of that may be coordinated through teachers. They're obviously a very important role. So how are they involved in the financial education process?
Well, it's fascinating to see what they're doing from the elementary to the middle to the high school. It's very inspiring to see small children talking about immediate satisfaction versus delayed gratification. They can understand that from a very early age. And we have some elementary school teachers creating a classroom economy, so to speak. And what they do is they give credit to students for good behavior, for turning assignments in on time, for doing extra work. And they accrue funds which they can spend to buy their desk or buy a neighbor's desk, which means their neighbor then owes them rent every month. It's pretty interesting. And so they can either purchase things that they can acquire immediately, or they can save, which I like. And then in the middle school, we have a lot of students doing scenarios where they get a certain income and a family status. They either have a husband or a wife or children, and then they have to plan out their entire budget, purchase a house, a car, etc. So we have students working on a variety of different options at high school and middle and elementary school. So they're learning how to better budget and prevent risk in the future.
Yeah, sure. And then parents, of course, are heavily involved. They can interact with some of these programs or get involved as well?
Absolutely. Parents are, as I said, the role models for students' future money behavior, I think, and they're the first teacher. So if they begin early by establishing some really sound practices in front of their children and explaining to them about budgeting, saving some money for themselves, spending some, and then, of course, contributing to a cause. It's always good to teach children about philanthropy and ways to help others, not just have a lot for yourself. And so we have parents who are very much involved and engaged in educating their children, which is very important. And I think because we have now asked our schools to help with that, parents need to be involved in asking their school educators and leaders, how are my children learning about financial education and how can I support that at home?
Yeah. Earlier you talked about the FAFSA process, F-A-F-S-A. Talk a little bit more about, like, let's say you're graduating high school, what do you do now, and some other steps high school graduates should be doing.
Well, one of the first important decisions they'll make is whether to enter into a career directly or go on to higher education, some form of post-secondary education, and whether to work and go to school or full-time work or full-time school. And so the application for federal student aid is an important piece. And what I think one of the mistakes parents often make is they have a lot of money or resources and they don't apply or fill out the free application for federal student aid. And I have had experiences where students have acquired funds from alumni scholarships and other places at private schools where, had they completed the FAFSA, other students would have been eligible for those funds, but because their parents had such high resources, they didn't apply. And so you want to apply regardless of your situation, or fill out the FAFSA, and I think that's an important point. You have to look for scholarships early on and apply early and often, because there's a lot of money out there that can be acquired, but students just need to do the essay writing, all the kind of work that you have to do to push the stone up the hill to get that funding. And there's plenty out there if students want to work for it. The other thing is they're going to college and they're probably going to want a car eventually. So one of those big purchases is going to be a vehicle and car insurance. So we think that it's important for students to understand those immediate needs as well as long-term needs. So you have to create wealth, save, and preserve wealth. And so there are many things that we ask students to do that not just focus on the content they need to learn, but it's about making informed decisions. And that's a cross-cutting standard in our curriculum, is decision making, because we all know, even with nutrition, you can know better and not do better. The same thing holds true for our financial backing. We know better, but we don't always do better.
Absolutely. So. We're going to take a break. Very important stuff for our audience. We appreciate you coming on the show. We'll be right back with Lynne Gilli. My name is Brian Kuhn. You're watching Your Future, Your Finances. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.